Welcome to Two Hypnotherapists Talking with me, Denise Mejia, in Delaware, USA.
And me, Martin Ferber, in Preston, UK.
This weekly podcast is for anyone and everyone who'd like to know more about the fascinating subject of hypnosis and the benefits it offers.
I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and psychotherapist.
I'm a retired medical doctor turned consulting hypnotist.
We are Two Hypnotherapists Talking.
So let's get on with the episode.
Hello, Martin. Would you like to reintroduce our guest today?
I would, Denise. We're joined this week by the person who was our very first ever guest 2 years ago, and that's Jason, the teen anxiety coach. Jason, hello.
Oh, yeah, welcome. Thanks for welcoming me back. 2 years. That's gone
Really
pretty
fast.
quick. Yeah, it's gone really quick. Really quick.
That has gone really quickly, and I thought it'd be a good time to have a catch up with you because a lot's happened in 2 years with us, and I dare say it's happened with you as well. So I just thought we'd ask what's happening in life.
God, what's happening in life? I'm clearly 2 years older. Whether I'm 2 years wiser, I don't know. Business wise, yeah, going really well. It's a constant flow, which is nice. I also help out a local charity that deals with Tourette's, and enjoying that. Really working, with young people and old people, to be fair, or older people, should I say? With Tourette's, I'm learning quite a lot about that now, which I'm really enjoying. I get a lot of OCD clients from that as well.
Okay.
Which, again, I really enjoy working with OCD. The results, is absolutely brilliant that we get from that. So, that's it in a nutshell, really.
Right. Okay. But I was going to ask you about your teen anxiety work because a couple of years ago you just decided to sort of specialize in that niche, hadn't you?
Yes.
And so how's it going? What kind of people are you seeing? What are they seeing you for?
I see quite a variety of people, really, age group wise. But it is mainly, obviously, most of my work is now anxiety work. And when it comes down to teenagers and younger people, it's kind of the social anxiety, or mainly the social anxiety that comes from that. And I think that's a lot to do still with the back end of COVID. The youngsters coming out of that probably didn't learn the skills of being personal.
Do you notice a difference in the ages? Because there were children who went 2 years of life, their first 2 years of life, without any socialization outside of their immediate family, but they've since had twice as much again to recover from it, whereas in terms of their discrete age, the teenagers you're seeing, were they kids who were like 11, 12 when this was happening?
Yeah, if not probably a little bit younger.
So really at the point where they're starting to go out past the family and past the immediate school stuff to start making friends in other areas.
Yes.
And they've missed out on that part.
Yeah, definitely. It's they probably learn a lot by talking to each other online, and learn a lot about technology and how that side is. But the actual personal face-to-face skills, they absolutely lost in that time. And it's interesting talking to people that come to see me for that, and how much they're very much all the same, but kind of having different different challenges. No one client's really the same, really. So it's been a big learning curve for me, on how to support the youngsters, the younger people with that. And I've loved every minute of it, to be fair. I really have. Do you
see them for the most part on the sort of standard? I can't remember the title for your training program, but basically you see the first. Thank you. So I do start with an S. Do you mostly see like it's a 6-week program for most kids, or do you have to run it out longer for some of them?
Yeah. So when I first started, obviously, and we first spoke I was doing sort of like pay as you go and not really having much of a structure, but I turned my business round quite quickly and had that structure of 6 sessions, because it seemed to be within those 6 sessions that they were seeing a huge difference in themselves. It's very rare that I now see clients after the 6 sessions.
Right. So just them knowing that they're able to change allows them to go off and do it by themselves.
Basically, because we give them the tools to understand that anxiety and how to have kind of their own coping mechanisms if it ever crops up, of how to overcome it and obviously shut it down as quickly as possible. So
I mean,
So
with it being young people, do you equip them with things that they have control over, like a self-care box sort of thing?
No, not really, to be fair. As you know, Martin, because obviously you're solution focused as well, it's all what the client decides they want to do and how they want to deal with it and how they want to live their lives. So I suppose in a way they kind of do come up with their own self-help box, if that's the right words, on how they deal with certain situations. They know that they can deal with that situation, so much better than they used to. I see quite a few school avoiders as well, which is again is very interesting.
Are they avoiding education, or are they avoiding group settings in order to be educated?
I would say they're avoiding more the group, that interaction with their peers rather than education itself. The amount of people that I see and they say, I've got nothing against obviously going to school and actually learning. I just can't go to school. I find that the challenge. So, it's just helping them realise that, for them, it's still safe to go to school. They used to go to school and have, no challenges. So that's where, we just have to retrain them and get them to retrain their brain to realise that it is safe, to go back to school.
And of course, it was such a huge amount of time in terms of the number of years they've been on the planet. You were right, 3 years, was that yesterday? But for them it's a lot. They've just slightly tangential, but the mayor of Philadelphia has just made it mandatory for people, all city employees now have to physically go to work, instead of a lot of them were holding on and just being 3 days at the office and the other 2 days working from home, etc. And they've stopped that now. It was like last week, I think. It was hard fought. But they've got all these big buildings and they were empty. They don't want to do that.
And of course, you've got the knock-on effect in the local economies when people aren't in the office.
Exactly.
People don't take the dry cleaning to work with them, or you have to drop off at the dry cleaners, and they're not buying lunches in the local sandwich shops if they're working from home.
I think so. We won't know. God, I'm losing my ability to speak these days. Some sociologist in the future will look back and speak of the great change that happened, because it's going to have knock-on effects for years. It really is.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so, because when you think of the people you're seeing now as teenagers, and this was always something that was said to me when I was younger about how the years go quicker as you get older, and they certainly do. I mean, if you try and put your mindset back in that of a 10-year-old child or a 12-year-old child and think how long a year used to last or seemed to last, that term from September to Christmas seemed to last forever, didn't it? Until you got to Christmas. A year. It's like now, it's August, week after next. Can't believe it. Don't know where this year's gone.
Exactly. And I definitely wouldn't like to go back to that age, to be honest. The challenges that young people have, far outdo any challenges we had at that age.
I mean, one big thing with young people, I don't know if you've helped people recover from this, is cyberbullying, isn't it?
Funny enough, I haven't experienced any real cyberbullying. No, I haven't. I've seen
Well, these are the kids who liked being online more than they like being out in general society. Yeah. So they're managing to avoid it. But there has to be a subset of kids that they were bullied at school and now they're bullied online.
Yeah, one of my first teenagers that I saw that come to me had gone through a lot of physical bullying, and that's why they became a school avoider, because obviously he just associated going to school with being bullied all the time. But I know that they are doing fine, absolutely doing fine now. Loving the school, going to school every day. So, but yeah, that's probably the only. No, I probably had a few more, to be fair, of actual physical bullying. But yeah, online bullying, none of my clients really talk about it, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking because, in my experience, in the limited number of younger people I've helped, it's a question of, you may get, in our day, you'd get physically bullied at school, and, that would hopefully be the end of it. Whereas these days, the humiliation is repeated forever online if it's been filmed and then put out there. And that's something, when you were saying you wouldn't like to be a young person growing up today, I couldn't imagine that. That is terrible, knowing it's out there online forever.
Yeah. I did a course a while ago, and the person that did the course, really taught me something in kind of one little sentence, really. And she said, sort of like, it's, as parents, parents always go, oh yeah, I remember being a teenager. I know what it's like to be a teenager. Thing is, we don't now. Yeah, we don't now. When we grew up, we never had these.
Nope.
We had never had this technology. Like you said, Martin, if you were bullied at school, you could kind of go home, shut the door, and kind of
get away from it.
Get away from it and forget about it for a few hours. Now, like you say, Martin, you can't. It's constant 24/7. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I would not like to be a teenager now.
So the work that you're doing with early teens, so you see kids sort of 11, 12, 13, or a little bit older than that?
Older. I've seen quite a lot of adults, right up to 80s, 90s.
Yeah, no, I want to sort of stay with the school avoidance stuff.
Yep.
So the kids that you're seeing are children who are able to sort of analyze what they're doing. Are they able to tell you, really? Do they know why they're avoiding school?
I would say most of them do, to be fair. They understand it's some sort of anxiety, but they probably couldn't tell you what, or even sometimes, why they have it. But, but once you get to know them and they relax even more, and start talking to you, then they soon realise, that was probably the issue. I'm going to go and sort that out in my mind and go and deal with it, and off I go. So a lot of them I think can do, to be fair.
I mean, this is something I find when I'm delivering the youth mental health first aid courses. One of the big things with young people, again, trying to put our mindset over to that age group, is our vocabulary wasn't that big then. I mean, adults have enough of an issue trying to describe how they're feeling or what's going on in here when they come to see us. For young people, it's, far more difficult as well. They don't know how to express themselves. Hence, a lot of young people are just like, they'll scream and shout, and because they can't verbalize how they're feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the frustration of it, isn't it?
Yeah. So do you ever have young people coming to you that are, in that state of anxiety, and then you've got to sort of, really bring them down and work at it, and, take quite a long time? Or...
Yeah, no, I haven't really.
Do the kids refer you to, do they self-refer, or their parents?
It's always the parents. And in all my time so far, I've never been contacted by a young person. It's always the parents that reach out first. And obviously, you hear the background story of obviously the challenges they're facing.
Do you get any feedback from the schools?
No, nothing from the schools.
Okay.
Nothing from the schools. The only thing I've been told about with schools is one of the young people I was seeing, his teacher phoned his mum to say he can't believe the amount of change, what's gone on in the last couple of weeks for him to change this much.
Get a testimonial.
Yes, yeah, definitely. But yeah, she told me that literally straight away, to say that it was nice to get that phone call from a teacher to say, look, what's happened and she obviously said, that they were seeing me, and yeah, that's what's gone on. So, but schools in this area are just really hard to get into, speak to, get hold of. Yeah, it's quite tricky.
Do you have much concern in the schools with physical safety? We do here. All of our schools have, all the schools in the bigger cities have locks on the doors, and you've got to buzz and you've got to talk to, you don't get to the secretary to find out where you're going until you've gone through a little chat first.
Yeah, I know with my boys' school, if you're driving in, you've got to go through a barrier. If you're walking in, you can walk up to the main fence, the barriers, and you have to buzz to get in there.
Yeah, so it's the same.
Yeah. When you're in reception, you still can't even get into the school because you have to sign in, and they have to let you through the door. So, I don't know what it's like. So like physical abuse now at the school or schools.
Yeah, a lot of the schools here require the kids to go through metal detectors.
That's not that bad yet here. I think it's a little bit in London, but not in my local area. I don't know what it's like in your area, Martin.
Not that bad. Not like it is in London. But I mean, Denise had a conversation some time ago about, how we have fire drills in school over here. They have shoot down drills over there, don't they? In case of a mass shooting. I don't think we have those over here.
Wow, saying that, they have started doing lockdown drills at my son's schools. I think they practice them twice a year.
Well, see, that kind of thing's going to induce anxiety, isn't it, in a young person?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, you're stuck in a rock and a hard place. I want to make them all somewhat traumatized, or run the risk of somebody being really traumatized.
Yeah. And I think sometimes as well, what I've seen through personal experiences with schools is sometimes the language they use as well. I had a teacher turn around to me and say that my year 9 son that's going into year 10 needs to actually start acting like a year 10 student, and he's neurodiverse, has autism.
So it's not helpful.
So where is he anyway on the scale?
And I picked that teacher up on it, and I said, have you just listened to the language you've used? If you're using that to an autistic, neurodiverse young person, saying you need to be a normal 10-year year 10 student, how's that going to make him feel?
Jason, have you, obviously we need to remember client confidentiality and things here, but have you ever had a young person who's benefited from your treatment and the parents have been so impressed, the parents have come for help?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I'm just thinking of a few. So it probably ends up because they sometimes realize that they're probably the challenge themselves. And it's quite nice when they realize that, that okay, maybe I need to change as well, and support my young person the way I should be.
Do you think some of them are realizing for the first time that change is actually a possibility?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's I think we're in a society where it's just all doom and gloom all the time, and they just get stuck in their the way they are, their lives, and just think that that's normal, and definitely as parents, I say to every parent I talk to, we're never given a manual on how to raise or look after a child or anything. So you're doing what you believe is the best, and nobody can challenge that or change that apart from yourselves. And when they kind of see that and understand it, they then go, actually, I think I might need a few sessions.
But I think of the societal differences though between, say, when I was young and somebody in their teens today. These days it's more common than not that both parents are working if it's a two-parent household, whereas back in my day, more mothers were at home than were at work.
At least until the kids were in senior school.
Yeah. So that's quite a big change. Also, the other big societal thing is people don't seem to live in the close family areas that they used to. It used to be, there was a lot of latchkey kids back in my day. You'd have a key like yourself back in the house. I had a key when I was 9. I think you'd get done for that these days, your parents, wouldn't you?
Or you'd have a serious conversation with you.
But other changes as well. So obviously there's a lot more single parent households as well these days than there used to be, which obviously is even far more challenging. In fact, one person has got to work as well as bring up their child or children. They've got several more challenges there to jump through, haven't they?
Yeah, and with that as well, you probably find that the oldest child then takes on more of an adult role.
Yeah, some of the caring responsibilities.
Yeah, so the pressure that puts on them alone is huge. Because again, someone told me this. We need to come down to their level, their age, because we've been their age. They've never been our age. So putting that expectations onto a young person, it definitely has an impact on their mental health.
Speaking as the eldest of 4 girls, that absolutely is. When I was the only one in the family, which was almost the age of 2, I probably ruled the roost. But each time one came along, I got to be the big sister, and you get it's not. Nobody did anything terribly onerous, but it was just. It's like when I first was in hospital, and they had to cancel the surgery because I had a cold or something. But they kept me in hospital to keep the little girl company, because we were in adult wards. And I remember my parents telling me, now, you are 6 months older than her, and you have to share everything. If she wants a toy, you give it to her. I was 5, literally. It was just before I turned 5. This girl was 4.5. So it's. And look at this. I'm relatively well adapted, but I remember that conversation.
Yeah, Denise, you're scarred. You should sue. That's really interesting. That, of course, if you were the eldest of 4 girls, at least you were at the top of the chain, so you didn't get the hand-me-downs, did you?
I got other people's.
Oh, right, okay.
They were new to the house. I'm not too of me. I was born in the mid-50s, but there was definitely a post-war feel still.
Yeah. I was born in the 60s.
Rationing. I think they got rid of clothes rationing only like a year or 2 before. It was still very heavily rationed.
Yeah, there was a post-war feel when I was growing up in the 60s. I can remember both my grandparents having a store under the stairs with tins in case there was another war.
Just in case.
Yeah.
That was an interesting trek down memory lane for our listeners.
No, but it's true though, isn't it? There's so many differences for young people, just getting back on topic now, that weren't around even 25 years ago. But, especially when we think of connectivity and the internet and that kind of thing, but also all those big societal differences as well. Again, that anxiety that's out there because of, peer pressures to join a gang, that kind of thing. Drugs are far more prevalent than they were 30 or 40 years ago, for example. All teenagers explore things, don't they? And try things, a lot of them try things out, and one thing and another. Of course, back in the day, then it might have been a bottle of cider and 10 number 6 in the park. These days, they're on laughing gas, dope, you name it, they're trying it out. Those things just weren't there when I was younger.
No,
at least
I think you're right.
Available.
Yeah, I think you're right, Martin. It's definitely peer pressure, to a certain point. Hopefully, there's a few out there that say no.
Jason, can you believe it? That we're near the end of the podcast now. We're going to include all your contact details in the show notes. But what I'd like you to do is just explain to people what you can do to help young people, how they, what to expect if they come to see you.
Oh, what to expect to come to see me? Actually, I got some feedback today on a networking meeting.
Okay.
From someone I've helped their daughter, and he said, my daughter absolutely loves Jason because he's nuts. Yeah. She goes, I love working with him because he gets me to where I want to be, and he's absolutely nuts. And I thought, that's great. I love it. I love that.
Use it as a strap line.
Yeah, Jason.
All right, Jason, it's been great catching up with you. We'll do it again in another 2 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for coming on.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thanks for inviting me. Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed listening. Please remember, this podcast is designed to give you an insight into therapeutic hypnosis and is for educational purposes only. So remember, consult with your own healthcare professional if you think something you've heard may apply to you or a loved one.
If you found this episode useful, you can apply for free continuing professional development or CME credits using the link provided in the show notes. Feel free to contact either of us through the links in the show notes. Join us again next week.